There comes a moment in each life when the heavy weight of doubt presses upon our spirit. We look in the mirror and question not only who we are, but why we are. It is easy in these moments to forget the truth of our value. The world is quick to measure us by fleeting standards, wealth, beauty, success, and yet these are but shadows that vanish when the sun of our true self-worth rises. Your self-worth is inherent, not something to be earned or given by others. This is a truth that many people fail to fully grasp, often because they are looking for validation from external sources, seeking approval from those around them, or measuring themselves against societal standards that are in constant flux. The concept of self-worth, however, goes far beyond the fleeting judgments of others or the achievements we accumulate. It is not contingent upon meeting certain expectations or adhering to specific norms. Rather, it is a deep, immutable truth that exists within us, whether we recognize it or not. At the core of who we are, our worth is already set, unchanging and constant. Just as a diamond is valuable by its very nature, regardless of whether it is polished or unpolished, so too is your worth inherent. It is not something that can be bestowed upon you by others, nor can it be taken away by external circumstances. When we rely on others for our sense of worth, we give up our personal agency and become subject to forces outside of our control. The praise or criticism of others, the approval or rejection from peers, the success or failure in our careers, none of these are true indicators of our value. They are merely external circumstances, passing moments that hold no power over the deep well of worth that resides within us. This can be difficult to accept, particularly in a world that places so much emphasis on external validation. We are taught from an early age that our achievements define us, that our grades, our popularity, our career success, and our relationships are the primary markers of who we are. Social media amplifies this, presenting a curated image of perfection where every achievement is showcased and every mistake is hidden. In this environment, it is easy to lose sight of the truth that our self-worth has nothing to do with what others see or think. It exists independently of the accolades we receive or the recognition we gain. The idea that self-worth is inherent means that it is not dependent on anything external. It is not something that can be lost through failure or disappointment. When we fail at something, it is easy to internalize that failure and believe it reflects our worth as individuals. But failure does not diminish who we are, it merely points to a learning opportunity, an area for growth. Your self-worth is not defined by your successes or your failures, but by your very existence. You are worthy because you are, not because you have done or achieved a certain thing. One of the most freeing aspects of recognizing that self-worth is inherent is that it places the responsibility for our worth back in our hands. If our value is not determined by others, then we are free to define it for ourselves. The process of unlocking our self-worth involves shifting our perspective. It requires us to move away from the idea that our value is tied to what others think of us or to our accomplishments, and instead embrace the fact that we are valuable simply because we exist. This shift in mindset is not always easy. It requires letting go of the need for external validation and learning to trust in the truth of our own worth. Learning to recognize and affirm our inherent worth means becoming more self-aware. It involves stepping away from the noise of the world and listening to the quiet voice within. It means no longer seeking validation in the applause of others or in the approval of social circles. True self-worth comes from understanding who we are at our deepest level, the parts of us that remain untouched by the judgments of others, the parts that are unique to our individual being. This self-awareness can only be cultivated when we stop measuring our value by the standards of the outside world and start seeing ourselves through the lens of our own understanding. It is important to note that understanding the inherent nature of self-worth is not about becoming arrogant or overly self-reliant. Recognizing that your value is not contingent upon what others think of you does not mean that you disregard the feelings and opinions of others altogether. Rather, it means that you no longer allow those opinions to define who you are. You are free to engage with others, to listen to their feedback, and to accept their perspectives, but you do so from a place of self-assurance, knowing that their opinions do not dictate your worth. Moreover, embracing your inherent worth requires patience and compassion toward yourself. It means understanding that this journey of self-recognition is not always straightforward, and there will be moments of doubt and uncertainty. There will be times when the world around you challenges your sense of value, when the opinions of others seem to speak louder than your own inner voice. In these moments, it is essential to remind yourself that your worth does not depend on these external factors. It remains steady, unshaken, no matter the circumstances. This truth can become a source of strength, a grounding force that carries you through the difficult times. The realization that self-worth is inherent also means that it is not diminished by the imperfections we perceive in ourselves. In a culture obsessed with perfection, it is easy to believe that we must be flawless in order to be valuable. We may feel that our worth is tied to our physical appearance, our intellect, our achievements, or our relationships. But when we understand that our value is inherent, we can let go of these misguided beliefs. We are worthy despite our imperfections, not because we are perfect, but because we are human. Our flaws, our struggles, our mistakes, all of these are part of what makes us who we are. They do not diminish our worth, they simply add depth to our humanity. True self-worth does not come from seeking approval or striving for perfection. It comes from recognizing that we are enough, just as we are in this moment. It is a recognition that we do not need to prove our worth to anyone, because it is already established. You are worthy of love, of respect, of happiness, not because of what you accomplish or how others view you, but because you are a person of intrinsic value, deserving of all these things simply by existing. When we begin to internalize this truth, the pressure to live up to external standards begins to fade. We no longer feel the need to constantly prove ourselves or to chase after the next accomplishment in order to feel validated. Instead, we are able to approach life from a place of contentment, knowing that our worth is already secure. We begin to live with a greater sense of peace, grounded in the knowledge that we do not need to perform for others in order to be worthy. Our worth is not something that can be earned or lost, it is simply a part of who we are. By embracing this truth, we can start to live a life that is true to ourselves, free from the constant need for external validation. We are able to make choices based on what aligns with our own values and desires, rather than what we believe will gain us the approval of others. This is a liberating experience, one that allows us to be authentic, to act with integrity, and to find fulfillment in ways that are true to our inner selves. In essence, the understanding that your self-worth is inherent means that you no longer have to prove anything to anyone. You are valuable not because of what you do or what others think of you, but because of who you are. This realization has the power to transform your life, freeing you from the need for validation and opening up a world of possibility where you can fully embrace your true self. True value is revealed by recognizing your unique purpose and design. This idea challenges the notion that worth can be determined by comparison or external markers of success. In a world where many people measure themselves against others, often unconsciously, it becomes difficult to see that each person has their own distinct place in the tapestry of life. The truth is, your worth is not based on fitting a mold or aligning with what society defines as valuable. It is found in the recognition of your individuality, your specific gifts, and your purpose in the larger picture. Every person is born with inherent qualities that contribute to the world in ways no one else can. These qualities may not always be obvious at first, but they are there, woven into the very fabric of your being. Our lives are often shaped by external influences, family, culture, education, and society, but beneath these layers lies a deeper calling. Each individual has a purpose that is uniquely theirs, and understanding this purpose is key to unlocking your self-worth. This purpose is not something that can be dictated or borrowed, it is an innate part of who you are. When you begin to recognize your purpose and your unique design, you begin to see your value more clearly. You stop measuring your life against others' achievements because you understand that their journey is not your own. The life they are meant to lead is different from yours, just as their strengths and challenges are not the same. When you recognize your uniqueness, you stop competing with others and start creating your own path, one that is aligned with who you truly are. In this process, you may encounter doubts or moments of uncertainty. It is natural to question the significance of your purpose, especially when the world around you seems focused on more conventional achievements. But when you recognize that your value is intrinsically tied to your unique contribution, those doubts begin to fade. You realize that your purpose does not have to be grand in the eyes of the world to be important. The impact of your actions, your choices, and your presence can be profound, even if it doesn't look like what others expect. True value lies not in conformity, but in authenticity. This recognition of your unique purpose also fosters a deeper sense of fulfillment. When you align with your true self, you begin to live in a way that reflects your values and passions, which creates a sense of peace and contentment. You are no longer chasing the approval of others, but rather moving in harmony with your own sense of purpose. This alignment brings a natural confidence, because you know that you are living in a way that honors your deepest calling. By embracing your individuality and recognizing your purpose, you begin to cultivate a sense of worth that is not based on the validation of others, but on the understanding of your own unique role in the world. When you recognize your value in this way, you stop asking for permission to be yourself and start living as the person you were always meant to be. Comparison to others distorts your understanding of your own worth. It is one of the most powerful traps that many people fall into, and it is a trap that, when left unchecked, can severely undermine a person's sense of self. The act of comparing ourselves to others, whether consciously or unconsciously, has become almost second nature in today's world. With the advent of social media and a culture that places a high premium on external appearances, success, and achievement, it is incredibly easy to start measuring our lives against the lives of others. We look at those around us and begin to measure our own worth based on their achievements, their status, their possessions, and their relationships. This constant comparison, however, is one of the most corrosive forces to understanding our true value. The moment we start comparing ourselves to others, we give up our own unique perspective and begin to see ourselves through the lens of others. The problem with comparison is that it is inherently flawed. No two lives are identical, and no two paths are the same. What works for one person may not work for another, and what one person values may not be meaningful to someone else. When we compare ourselves to someone else, we are not seeing the whole picture. We are only seeing a small slice of someone else's life, a curated snapshot that doesn't capture the full breadth of their struggles, their challenges, their growth, or their weaknesses. Just as we often present a polished version of ourselves to the world, others do the same, which makes comparison not just unfair, but misleading. The truth is, when we compare ourselves to others, we fail to see our own worth. We focus too much on what others have achieved or what they possess, and in doing so, we forget to acknowledge our own unique qualities, experiences, and potential. Each person is on their own individual journey, and what we bring to the table, our strengths, our weaknesses, our passions, our history, cannot and should not be measured against anyone else's. The moment we start measuring our worth based on external factors or the achievements of others, we begin to lose sight of what truly makes us valuable. We reduce ourselves to a set of comparisons, a checklist of things we don't have, and things we haven't done. And in doing so, we rob ourselves of the ability to see our own intrinsic value. We live in a world that is obsessed with competition, with one-upmanship, and with success stories that are often amplified to such a degree that they create unrealistic standards. Social media has only heightened this obsession, providing an endless stream of curated images that showcase the highlight reels of people's lives. It can feel as if everyone else is achieving more, doing more, and living a life that is somehow better than our own. But this, of course, is an illusion. No one's life is perfect, and no one's journey is free from struggle or hardship. When we compare ourselves to others, we often overlook the challenges they have faced and the sacrifices they have made. We see only the success, not the sweat, the tears, and the trials that led to that success. Moreover, comparison often breeds feelings of inadequacy, self-doubt, and insecurity. It creates an environment where we feel that we are never quite good enough, no matter what we achieve. It is a perpetual cycle of striving for something that is always just out of reach. And in that cycle, we lose sight of the fact that we are already enough as we are. When we measure our worth against someone else's achievements, we discount the value of our own journey, our own accomplishments, and our own potential. We forget that the path we are on is just as significant as anyone else's, and that our growth is unique to us. The constant comparison creates a false sense of scarcity, a belief that there is not enough room for everyone to succeed, that one person's success diminishes our own. This mindset fosters jealousy and resentment, and it leads us to think that in order to be worthy, we must somehow outdo others. We become so focused on what others are doing that we forget to focus on ourselves, on our own dreams, goals, and aspirations. But in truth, the success of others does not take away from our own potential. There is no finite amount of worth in the world your value is not diminished because someone else is successful or has what you desire. Instead of comparing yourself to others, it is far more productive to compare yourself to your own past self. Reflect on where you started, the challenges you've overcome, and the progress you've made. That journey, the growth you've experienced, is something only you can truly appreciate and understand. When we focus on our own growth rather than measuring it against someone else's, we begin to see the progress we have made and recognize the value of our own unique path. The only competition that matters is the one between where we were and where we are today. Every step forward, no matter how small, is a testament to your own value. The reality is, no one else has your exact combination of talents, experiences, and perspectives. You are a singular individual, and the way you contribute to the world, the impact you have on those around you, is unlike anyone else's. When you stop comparing yourself to others, you free yourself to appreciate your own uniqueness. You start to see your own potential, your own strengths, and your own possibilities. You become more comfortable in your own skin, no longer measuring your worth against a false standard, but accepting your inherent value as it is. The act of comparison strips away the authenticity of your journey. It blinds you to the beauty of your own story and the value that comes from living it. Everyone has different gifts to offer, and while it is important to be inspired by others, it is equally important to recognize that your own gifts and contributions matter. The world needs what only you can offer, and when you stop comparing yourself to others, you open the door to discovering how to best share those gifts with the world. Comparison also distracts you from the joy of the present moment. It focuses your attention on what others have and what you don't, rather than what you can do right now with the resources and abilities you currently possess. When you release the need to compare, you give yourself permission to fully engage with the moment, to fully appreciate what you have, and to invest in the life you are creating for yourself, not for anyone else. This shift in focus brings with it a greater sense of fulfillment, as you stop chasing someone else's dream and begin to pursue your own. Ultimately, comparison is a thief. It steals your peace of mind, your confidence, and your self-worth. It shifts the focus from what you are capable of achieving to what you think you are lacking. But when you stop comparing yourself to others, you reclaim your power. You begin to see yourself for who you truly are, someone with a unique purpose, gifts, and potential. By embracing your own path and letting go of the need for comparison, you allow yourself to flourish and grow in ways that are authentic to you. And in doing so, you unlock the full extent of your self-worth. Unlocking self-worth requires action, courage, and letting go of limiting beliefs. While recognizing your inherent value is an important first step, the process of fully embracing and living from that place of worth demands that you move beyond passive acceptance. To truly unlock your self-worth, you must take deliberate steps to act in ways that align with your inner truth. It is not enough to simply know that you are worthy. You must also be willing to express that worth through your choices, your behavior, and your interactions with the world. Action is key in this process. Self-worth is not an abstract concept that exists only in your thoughts. It must be demonstrated through the way you live your life. This means making decisions that reflect your value, even when circumstances or other people suggest otherwise. It means setting boundaries that protect your well-being, saying no when necessary, and prioritizing your own needs without guilt. When you take action that honors your self-worth, you send a message to yourself and others that you value who you are and the gifts you bring to the world. However, taking action also requires courage. It is often easier to remain in situations or relationships that diminish your sense of worth because they offer comfort, familiarity, or a sense of security. But to truly unlock your self-worth, you must be willing to step outside of your comfort zone, to challenge the beliefs or habits that have kept you stuck. It takes courage to believe that you are deserving of better, to take risks in pursuit of your own happiness, and to confront the fears or insecurities that may be holding you back. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the willingness to move forward in spite of fear. It is the strength to take that first step, even when the road ahead feels uncertain. A critical part of unlocking self-worth is letting go of limiting beliefs that hold you back from realizing your full potential. These beliefs often take root in childhood or are reinforced by society, but they can have a lasting impact on how we see ourselves. Limiting beliefs are thoughts like "I'm not good enough, I don't deserve success," or "I'll never be able to change." These beliefs act as invisible chains, keeping us from taking the actions necessary to fulfill our true potential. Letting go of these beliefs requires deep self-awareness and a willingness to challenge the narratives that have shaped our lives. It means questioning the assumptions we've made about our abilities, our worth, and our future. By identifying and dismantling these limiting beliefs, we begin to free ourselves from the mental barriers that prevent us from stepping into our full potential. Releasing limiting beliefs also involves replacing them with empowering thoughts and affirmations. Instead of focusing on what we lack, we can shift our attention to what we already possess. When we affirm our value, we create a mindset that supports growth, healing, and progress. Believing in our worth opens up the possibility for us to take bold actions that are aligned with our true potential. This shift in mindset allows us to see challenges as opportunities rather than obstacles, and to approach life with a sense of possibility rather than limitation. Ultimately, unlocking self-worth is not a one-time event, it is a continuous journey. It requires consistent action, the courage to break free from the confines of fear and self-doubt, and the willingness to let go of the beliefs that no longer serve us. When we take these steps, we not only unlock our own potential, but also open the door to a life filled with meaning, fulfillment, and authenticity.